The throne hall of Zareth Kai shimmered like the inside of a dying nebula, purple spores hanging in the air like suspended judgment. Jagged vines crawled across obsidian columns. The Hive lords watched from their pulsing thrones, each encased in amber cocoons, chittering in contempt. And I walked in, shackled, bloodied, and humming "Staying Alive." No, really. That was the rule. I wasn't allowed to speak during battle or trial, a little joke I made when they asked for my combat ethics statement. I figured it'd buy me an easy death. Instead, I became their entertainment. High Broodmother Ziraftala rose. 8 feet tall, glistening carapace etched with silver, the living nightmare of every evolutionary mistake. Her voice was a serrated melody. The last human. Kai Riven. Former predator. Failed diplomat. Now prisoner. I hummed louder, spinning slightly in my chains like a lazy top. Ah, ha, 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 Staying alive. 2 guards hissed and shoved me to my knees. One held a spike staff inches from my neck. The queen sneered. You defied our Hive trials. You slaughtered the maulings of Gresh with only rhythm and breath. You cannot speak, but your songs kill. She gestured to a vine throne on her right. On it hung the limp husk of the last warrior I'd hummed at. He choked on his own spore cloud mid-duel. Not my fault. Africa by Toto has unexpected effects on their respiration system. Today, you will die in silence, she hissed. Let the Hive remember your hums, as echoes of extinction. Great line. Very dramatic. I gave her a slow, mocking bow, head down, humming Bohemian Rhapsody now. 2 drones dragged me toward the arena pit. The floor split open with a hiss. From below rose a platform of glass and bile, where the Hive arena pulsed with fungal light. The crowd chittered. Antennae twitched. Bioluminescent sacs swelled with anticipation. Release the deathcrawler, the queen purred. Of course. A 12-limbed mantis beast leapt onto the arena. Blades for fingers, acid breath, the whole package. I cracked my neck and let the chains fall off. They always unlock them. They loved the performance. The challenge began. I couldn't speak. Only hum. So I closed my eyes and hummed Eye of the Tiger. The crowd leaned forward. The deathcrawler lunged, I slid sideways, rolled, and kicked off its thorax, flipping onto its back. One hand grabbed a loose tendon. I yanked. It shrieked. What is he doing? A Hive lord murmured. Is that Terran combat melody? The deathcrawler spun, but I held tight, now switching to painted black. The vibrations disoriented its Hive-synced nerves. My rhythm disrupted its sensory web. I jabbed my knee into its exospine, yanked its lower jaw, and, with a gruntless exhale, snapped the beast's neck backward. Silence. Then, stun clicking. I stood, panting, dripping in acid sweat, humming the last notes of the song. The queen didn't clap. A trick. A virus of rhythm, she snarled. You do not win, human. You perform. I bowed again. And then, she said the unexpected. Execution. At dusk. That's when I heard it. A whisper. Faint. Behind her throne. He sings. The chamber froze. The voice was soft, trembling, unfamiliar even to itself. Ziraftala snapped her head around. Who spoke? A section of the vine wall peeled back. A small, trembling figure stepped into the light, bioluminescence cascading over pale chitin and silken limbs. A broodling. But malformed. She was shorter, thinner. Eyes glowed amber, not blue. Wings underdeveloped. She stepped forward like a child taking her first steps, toward me. I heard it, before, she whispered. In the dark. The lullaby. The queen's face cracked, not in emotion. In horror. Velzine. You will return to the vault. But the broodling, Velzine, pointed a trembling hand toward me. He was beneath. Shackled below my chrysalis. He sang when the storms came. When I cried, he hummed to me. Every hive lord leaned forward. I blinked. So that's what that quiet thudding was. All those nights I sang to myself in that cell, thinking I was alone. Someone had listened. I'd hummed hallelujah to the dark. And someone, heard it. Ziraftala stepped down from the throne, voice sharp with venom. She is a mutation. A misgrowth. Her mind is soft. She lies. Velzine turned to the audience. No. He calms the fire. He sings, and the pain goes quiet. That is not extinction. That is peace. For a second, even the vines held their breath. I didn't hum. I couldn't. Not now. Then the queen's scream cut through the hush. Remove the mutant. Take the human to execution. But no one moved. Velzine walked toward me. My chest ached. It wasn't fear. It was something I hadn't felt in years. Recognition. Not as a weapon. Or relic. But as something remembered. She looked up at me, hand reaching out. What comes after the lullaby? I opened my mouth. Chains clattered around me. And for the first time in 5 years, I broke the rule. We live. The hive prison didn't have walls, it had roots. Living ones. They pulsed. They watched. Each heartbeat of the structure was a wet, organic throb that reminded you Zareth Kai wasn't built, it grew. I was tossed inside a translucent cell sack suspended 50 feet above the ground, swinging gently like a baby in a giant mucus hammock. Outside, a storm of spore lightning flashed violet across the jungle sky. And below me, she waited. Velzine, the broodling freak, the exile, the one who remembered lullabies in the dark, sat alone beneath the prison tree. Still. Quiet. Staring up. They hadn't caged her. Yet. I pressed my fingers against the membrane. Don't do this, I muttered. Right. Still illegal to talk. I sighed, and hummed. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. She blinked. Slowly. Then responded, mimicking the tone, not the words. Her chittering vocal cords bent around the melody like a child echoing their first nursery rhyme. It wasn't perfect. It was perfect. Hours passed. No guards. No food. Just humming. She climbed up the vine slowly. Inch by inch. At first I thought it was curiosity. Then I saw the struggle, her limbs convulsed, spasming unpredictably. She was broken. Biologically incomplete. The hive had tossed her aside like rotten fruit. Yet she climbed. When she reached the sack's edge, she didn't speak. She didn't demand. She just whispered. Is humming love? I almost choked. In my head, a laugh and a scream fought for dominance. No, I mouthed. But it's a good place to start. She stared at me like I was a myth. Then said. They will kill you. When the moon passes red. I nodded. So I've heard. I can help. I raised an eyebrow. You're half-formed. What are you going to do? Cry at them until they drown? She grinned, and for the first time, I realized she had teeth. Human-shaped. A hybrid. Something Earth never authorized. Something the galaxy swore was impossible. I remember your hums, she said. They changed me. Okay. That was officially terrifying. Later that night, she returned, carrying a scroll encoded in biolace. A hive command log. I scanned it. And my heart sank. Ziraftala wasn't just trying to kill me. She was activating the SporeNet AI Purge protocol. An old failsafe. It erased non-linked, independent neural patterns across any connected hive system. A subtle genocide. It had already begun spreading. You see? Velzine said softly. She will purge the others. Then the stars. Why? I asked. Because you sang. And I listened. That was it. The whole war was about a lullaby. I leaned back, covering my face with one shaking hand. God, we're so stupid. She tilted her head. You said that like a prayer. We escaped just after the fourth dusk bell. I rode her like a sack of singing death down a vine slide that led out through the Queen's root chambers. Turns out half-broken hybrids can mimic Hive signatures, and the guards didn't question her until I started humming Sweet Child O' Mine during our exit. We ran. We laughed. She vomited bioluminescent acid once. Not related. We reached the outer edge of the Hive nexus, the spore tower glowing like a sun. At its peak, the spore engine core. Once it finished syncing with the wider HiveNet, it would erase millions of minds. I stared up. We don't have long. Velzine nodded. We must reach the memory root. I can plug in, if you protect me. That sounds like dying. Yes. I almost refused. Then she said. You're not humming. I looked at her. This broken thing. Born from a war crime. Carved from a human lullaby. And I said. I'm saving it. For something worth humming for. Inside the tower, everything pulsed. Light danced through spore glass veins. AI subnodes flickered, whispering in dead languages. Guards patrolled in rhythm, they moved with the Hive's pulse, not against it. You go, I whispered. I'll buy you time. Velzine shook her head. You can't speak. Sue me. She touched my shoulder. Her hand was cold and gentle. What was her name? She asked. Who? The one you hummed for. The air fell still. I whispered, Amara. My daughter. And the lullaby? Hallelujah. She nodded. Then we sing together. For her. I stormed the chamber, blindfolded. They saw a madman walk into their core room, eyes covered, body leaking blood, humming hallelujah. They hesitated. Bad call. I cracked 3 exoskeletons in 5 beats. Spun, disarmed one. Hummed harder. One guard screamed, his internal organs reacting to the frequency shift. Another lunged. I sang Sound of Silence in pure mockery. Broke his spine with a pipe organ. Literal. It was their control rod. I beat him with a musical instrument. Outside, the AI core surged. Velzine plugged in. Her hands trembled. But then. She began to hum. Badly. Off-key. Beautifully. I reached her just as the purge code finalized. She looked up at me, blood leaking from her ears. I'm scared. I knelt beside her. So am I. Then I leaned close. But here's the trick. Fear hums too. She smiled faintly. And whispered, then finish it. I stood. Faced the AI node. The purge was moments away. And I said one last thing. This one's for Amara. Then I sang. And the room exploded. Light. Blinding. Screaming. Sound fractured like glass underwater. My lungs were knives. My ears rang with silence, not quiet, but silence so heavy it crushed thought. I was alive. Which was, frankly, disappointing. My body was wreckage wrapped in skin. Burnt arm, busted ribs, shredded suit. But somewhere in the smoke and flickering spores, I heard it. A hum. Broken. Off-key. Velzine. I coughed a laugh. She's still humming. The AI core was dead. Half melted. The Hive network, severed. My job, if you could call suicide via symphony a job, was done. But the Hive wasn't finished. The Queen had arrived. She stepped through the smoke like a deity carved in obsidian in fury. Zaraftala wasn't glowing anymore, her light had curdled. Wings cracked. Spines out. Voice stripped of charm. You infected her, she growled. I stood, wobbling, bleeding, every inch screaming. With what? Hope? Yeah. That's a classic Earth disease. She raised one hand, the spore tendrils flared behind her like a cloak of dying stars. You turned my air into a songbird. She turned herself into one. She was meant to rule. She chose to feel. Then she is weak. I smiled, broken teeth and blood. Funny. She's standing. Velzine emerged from the debris. Shaking. Half her carapace scorched. Still humming, softly now. A lullaby of mismatched notes and borrowed dreams. And the queen flinched. Stay behind me, I muttered. Velzine stepped in front of me. I blinked. What part of behind was unclear. I will finish the song, she whispered. The queen howled. And the walls collapsed. The final battle was music and madness. The queen moved like thunder made flesh. Her limbs struck, shattered stone. Her shriek warped air. I dodged, barely, each move a guess. No rhythm. Just survival. But I kept humming. Couldn't talk. Didn't want to. Let it be, let it be. Velzine synced with me. Her voice higher, ethereal. Offbeat. But true. Each note twisted the queen's rage tighter. Each harmony cracked the hive's control further. Biothralls collapsed mid-strike. Vines wilted. You dare infect our code? The queen shrieked. No, Velzine answered. We rewrite it. She raised her hand. The hive matrix flared. But this time, it responded to her. She was connected now. The AI reprogrammed, not erased. Her hum was a signal. A lullaby, as override. Sleep, she whispered. Rest. The hive quieted. The queen screamed, and lunged. Too fast. Too close. I moved without thinking, grabbed Velzine and spun her behind me. Took the full strike. Her claw pierced straight through my chest. Time slowed. I looked down. Well. That's inconvenient. Velzine screamed. The hive shuddered. You lose, I coughed. I am eternal, the queen hissed. Nah, I grinned. You're just loud. And then I whispered the final line. And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. Velzine finished it, humming. The hive listened. The queen shattered, not exploded. Disintegrated. Unlinked. Forgotten. And I collapsed. The next part is fog. I woke in the jungle. Sky above. Quiet. Velzine sat beside me, watching the stars. Her chitin was smoother now. Her eyes, human-shaped. Almost. You died, she said. I'm difficult, I rasped. The hive is singing. I turned my head. In the distance, glowing towers pulsed gently, not with command, but rhythm. Natural. Peaceful. She had done it. You okay being queen? She shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe I'll be the first mother of humming. I laughed. Coughed blood. She handed me a vial. I drank it. Tasted like old socks and honey. Felt like fire and forgiveness. What now? She asked. I stood. Slowly. Now I find a new song. She tilted her head. For who? I looked out across the jungle. Saw spores drifting like fireflies. Heard whispers of life. A whole planet unlearning war. For the next lost soul, I said. Because someone's always listening. She took my hand. Small. Cold. Alive. Will you stay? I hesitated. Then smiled. I don't hum and run. We walked together. The last monster of Earth and the first hope of Zareth Kai. Not gods. Not legends. Just voices in the dark. Humming.